Welcome to the Jerome McClain Show. I'm your host, Jerome McClain, and let's get into our episode.
Intelligentsia, the endem of sarcasm, the nutty professor, to your whack-ass marmalade. It's T-Bone from T-Bone and Chick Brew in the Morning. Now available in podcast format. Simply search for the T-Bone and Chick Brew podcast, available wherever fine podcasts are sold.
Welcome to the Jerome McClain Show. I am your host, Jerome McClain. Independent media that will not reinforce tribalism. We have one planet, nobody is leaving, and now let us reason together. So I'm going to change the format a bit, which I had already done. I just didn't make any announcements, which is why sometimes you can see these nice little shorts. Sometimes the shows are long. Sometimes it's about God. Sometimes it's about Iran. Sometimes it's about philosophy. Sometimes it's about psychology, etc., etc. This specific thing that you're about to see is a short because there is a lot of things that go on in countries, and which is we play this little game where, because we are a melting pot in America, which I believe is a great thing. I actually believe being a melting pot is a great thing everywhere. But that's a whole other story. We'll talk about that another day. But because you're a melting pot, you tend to go towards people who are like you. And that is the lonely step of an origin called tribalism. It's not that people do it on purpose. It's that you seek what you are. Similar seeks same. That's one of the things we say a lot in behavioral psychology. And so because I'm not just somebody who talks about the news, I'm somebody who's interested in the news, but my certifications that I hold are not in journalism. They're actually in social science. They're in moral psychology. They're in religious traditions, moral theology. There's a stint of me in college for criminal justice studies. And so I am a hodgepodge of different ideas, thoughts, and streams. I did not go to school for any financial courses, but I love watching CSNBC, et cetera, et cetera. And I have a certification in counseling for finances. And that's just something that I recently got to be more flexible. So all that being on the table, we sometimes, similar seek same, knowing that is what I was talking about. When we boil into the melting pot, we will say, well, Muslims believe this. And blah, blah, blah believes that. It's just like, it is a lazy language way to think. Because the correct way to say that sentence would actually be, I have a Muslim friend and he said that they believe X, Y, and Z. That gives you some wiggle room, because if you know anything about culture, religion, sex, politics, etc., you don't know what people really believe, because everybody believes something different. Now, we all know that may be true, but the way our language we speak is very lazy. So we don't say Methodists believe this. We will say Christians, right? So there was a famous podcaster by the name of Patrick Bet David. I am not a fan, but I understand the appeal. Now, the funny thing is, I do love the show because he allows everybody to be on. of diverging speeches. I'm not a fan of him because you'll see why in this clip. So in this clip that is about to happen, and this is going to be a short. It's only going to be about 10 minutes, but he's actually on with another Muslim. He's a Muslim, and listen to how they disagree. And I want this to be very rich about assuming what we know versus what's actually a fact. I hope you enjoyed it.
Muslims can coexist with the West. I'm curious.
We went from Britain's being destroyed to London crime to EU to Muslim.
I'm curious.
Okay, we got to Muslim.
Tell me where you are with this. Do you think they can
I'm Muslim.
Okay.
What do you think?
Do you think they can coexist?
Do you think I can coexist with?
I think you can coexist.
Why me? I grew up in the UK. Right-wing media has been telling these stories all my life. All my life, all I've seen is black people and Muslim people on the front pages. Have you looked at the front page of the Daily Mail, the Daily Express? What do you mean the UK is being destroyed?
You think UK is doing good?
Yeah, I mean, no, but not for the reasons you think.
Why do you think UK is not doing good?
I think economically it's doing very badly. It had very bad leadership for the last 15 years. I was there. The Conservative government that came in 2010 did an austerity program after the financial crisis.
You put
basically
David Cameron
and George Osborne did an austerity program that basically gutted the British state, gutted our competitiveness, didn't cut the deficit, actually ruined our fiscal credibility, downgraded our credit rating, destroyed our growth over the course of a decade, undermined our health service.
Do you put anything tied to immigration to that?
No.
None.
Immigration's been a boost for the British economy. In fact, cutting immigration's bad. Look at Brexit. Brexit's been a disaster for the British economy. Do you know how many people in Britain want to rejoin the EU? A majority. Pull that up. The majority of Britons want to go back into the EU. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is, Pat? Why do you think Britons want to go back into the EU? You just said Britain's being destroyed.
No, but have you looked at the crime numbers? What's going on in UK?
Crime is very low.
Have you looked at
crime is very low, Patrick?
So let me ask you.
Do you know what the crime rate in London is?
Did you see the tweet that
you're not a fan of Sadiq Khan? You're not a fan of my good friend Sadiq Khan, are you?
What EU did? You saw the tweet that came out. What EU was saying they're doing, that they want to find a way to get rid of illegal immigrants.
Okay, you're jumping around, Patrick. Britain is not in the EU. We're talking about Britain. You just said Britain's being destroyed, which is nonsense, and then you said crime rate. Have you looked at the London crime rates? Last year, London had its lowest per capita murder rate since records began, had the lowest volume of homicides for 30 years under Sadiq Khan, third-term mayor, who people in America, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, get very worked up about. I don't know if you guys get worked up about him. Been a very successful mayor, and crime has come down by record numbers. Violent crime and murder.
When you're looking at EU, do you know which country in the EU has the lowest rate?
We're talking about the UK, Patrick.
Stay with UK. Stay with UK.
The UK is not in the EU anymore, sadly.
To me, I'll put them somewhat together in the same area.
They left 10 years ago.
By the way, so you're saying immigration coming from all these countries has been a successful project for the EU?
What's your definition of success?
Many different ways.
Economically, the EU desperately needs migrants. Have you seen the age rate? Pull up the demographic.
Okay, so
it's a dying continent with a very low birth rate, as Elon Musk likes to point out.
So when you think
they got no one there to work, to pay taxes, to look after the elderly, to run their health services, etc.
So maybe the one argument I'll go to see what you'll say about this. Do you think the West, when it comes down to West, Muslims can coexist with the West? I'm curious.
We went from Britain's being destroyed to London crime to EU to Muslim.
I'm curious.
Okay, we got to Muslim.
Tell me where you are with this. Do you think they can
I'm Muslim.
Okay. Do you think they can coexist?
Do you think I can coexist with
I think you can coexist.
Why me?
Educated, you're a worker, you're now a capitalist, you're contributing, you're creating jobs. I would say you're net positive.
Do you not think most Muslims do that?
I don't think depending on where they're coming from, they don't, because if their countries did a good job, why would they leave it?
Now, let me answer this question, but I want to also do something. What is personal is universal. Now, the context is these people are both Muslims. One of them is a conservative who believes in capitalism. One of them believes in capitalism, but he does not worship it. And you see how there's a difference between what Muslims actually believe, but one of them is educated enough to where he's holding the other one's feet to the fire by making him be specific with his language. By Muslims, what are you saying? That's a lazy term. Lazy terms for lazy people create populist uprisings, because you branch all these people into one group as if they're all the same. without thinking about, well, guess what? I want you to think about something very simple. We are all the same. Period. If you believe in science, then the atheist professor Lawrence Krauss said humans came from stardust. If you believe in the Bible, the Christian Bible says we came from dust, which means what? There is no difference. Why can't Muslims coexist? I don't know. Why can't Christians coexist? Why can't gay people coexist? Why can't black people coexist? Why can't white people coexist? What is the most personal is universal. So when you actually have somebody ask you a question like that, I'm from the South. I have a very specific type of debate style, which is I answer questions with the questions at times, and other times, I switch it up based on the audience. Make people think about the laziness and the context of the question. So the way I would have said it, why are Muslims, blah, blah, why can't Muslims coexist? I would say, what do you mean by Muslims? What evidence do you have that Muslims can't coexist? And then I would have made him dig into it, and I would say, and that's very different than this Ireland, and I kind of try to see what they think first, but I just want you to think about it when you're in conversations with people. Back to the clip.
War that we caused?
War that who caused?
That we caused.
So they're leaving because of us.
Well, the big controversy in the UK over the boats, the small boats going across the channel. Do you know what the top 3 nationalities are in those boats?
Tell me.
Iran, number 1.
Okay.
Afghanistan, number 2. Iraq, number 3. Now, so Iran is a current war. Let's park Iran. Are you telling me we're not responsible for the mess in Afghanistan and Iraq? Come on.
When you look at this, let me show you this. Rob, can you pull this up? When it comes down to, let me see which one I got here.
I love Rob bringing up these. I love he brings this up.
I know you like numbers.
No, I love it. I love being proved right as well. It's
per capita.
For my ego.
No. Per capita. When you look at the countries, Rob, I think you got it. Gulf states, how they perform per capita versus some of the other Muslim nations. Look at this one here.
Because they got oil and gas.
You think it's only oil and gas that's causing them?
Did you know what these countries were like?
Let me ask you a question. Iran has plenty of oil.
Yeah.
How come they're not in Europe?
Maybe
Iraq has got oil.
Can I answer your question?
But this has been going on for a minute. This is not a one-year thing.
Can I answer your question?
Sure.
Why do you think Iran's not doing well economically? Should I go through the list?
You're going to say it's sanctions. You're going to say
of course I'm going to say sanctions.
You're going to say it's America's fault.
Not just America's fault.
So how come?
But partly. Hold on. How much? Okay, you left Iran during the Iran-Iraq war, right?
I left Iran after Khomeini died. 6 weeks after Khomeini died.
Okay, so Iran-Iraq was done by then. So Iran-Iraq was
1589.
So Iran-Iraq was done. Iran-Iraq was 1980 to 1980.
Yes.
$600 billion of damage done to Iranian infrastructure, the economy, the cost of that war. That was a war that Saddam Hussein.
Oh, you put it on Saddam.
Whose fault do you think it is? Who invaded who?
So, by the way,
hold on, Patrick. Come on.
You don't at all put that on IRGC?
No, I put it on
You don't put it on Islamic Revolutionary Guard?
I put it on the country that invades the other country. That's how the world works. I blame Russia for the Ukraine war.
Why do they have a hard time getting along with other people?
Why does Saddam Hussein? Are you pro-Saddam?
No. Why does Iran have a hard time getting along with other people?
That was what I said. I said there was an Iran-Iraq war. You said, is America to blame? I said, yes, we backed Saddam Hussein. Did we not back Saddam Hussein? Did Donald Rumsfeld not fly and hug? You can Rob can bring up a video with Donald Rumsfeld hugging Saddam Hussein in 1983 in Baghdad. Were we not supporting the Iraqi invasion of Iran that cost Iran 1 million lives? $600 billion of infrastructure damage. You're saying that didn't play any role in Iran's economic future.
Why don't they?
You're answering my question.
No, but you don't understand what I'm saying. No. But Mehdi, let me ask.
You want me to acknowledge?
No, but look, let's give credit to, for instance, when Mamdani goes to the White House, you and I both give credit to both of them for being diplomatic.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you think Iranian leadership with the IRGC is diplomatic?
No. They've been horrific in their leadership. I think they've given their opponents a stick with which to beat them. I was a big critic of Ahmadinejad back in the day. He said dumb things.
So do you think Khomeini was good for Iran?
Do I think Khomeini was good?
Do you think Khomeini was good for Iran?
No, in hindsight, of course not. If you look at the records,
so then we're on the same. What I'm trying to do is,
I've said this before. I went on Piers Morgan's show. Just to be clear, for people who don't know, I'm Shia. Right? I'm a Shia
I know.
Muslim,
I know you're Shia.
which
Yeah.
is the majority religion in Iran.
Sure.
Right? So but there are two types of Shias. This is very crude. I'm trying to explain to you what it is. Religiously, theologically, politically, there's two types of Shias. There are those who believe in what's called Vilayat Faqih, WF. They believe that Khomeini, this was a political theory, some say a religious theory, pushed by Ayatollah Khomeini, that said that the clerics, the Ayatollahs, the mullahs, whatever you want to call them, they should rule. Power should be with them. That is the model that Iran has followed. There is another school of thought that comes out of Iraq, mainly out of a city called Najaf, and Ayatollah called Sistani, who is the leading Shia Ayatollah in Iraq today. And they say, no, we are all for religion. We're all, we want everyone to practice Islam, Shia Islam, but we're not going to rule. After the Americans toppled Saddam, Ayatollah Sistani did not do a Khomeini. He did not say, I'm going to become supreme leader of Iraq. He said, have elections, democracy, vote. I'm going to stay in my house and I'm going to give you advice, religious advice when you need it. I follow the Ayatollah Sistani view of the world, crudely put. Sure. I don't follow the Ayatollah Khomeini view of the world. So when you say to me, was he good for Iran? As a governmental system, no, I don't support the governing system of Iran the way it is. But you're changing the subject. You're avoiding you are.
I'm not.
There was an 8-year war. We were talking about Iran.
He definitely is. This is one of the most frustrating things about me when somebody asks me a question, let's say about banking, and then I start to answer the question, then you rabbit trail about, operations. Then I start to get that, and you ask me a question about, how about the swimming pool? I somewhat give up on the conversation, like, look, if you want to talk about banking, let's stick to one specific topic. The bouncing back and forward is fine. I know that's the way humans do it normally when they don't. They're not trained debaters like I happen to have been. So I understand that I have to tolerate it, but I will say it does make having an actual conversation very frustrating. And then we can all see the tape that he is bouncing, but it's like in real time when you call somebody out, it's frustrating when they don't acknowledge what they just did. Back to the debate.
You lived there. Trust me, I lived there. I witnessed it.
I understand.
You should entertain the idea of living in a Muslim majority country, see what it's like.
I understand.
You lived there.
You're jumping around.
I'm not.
You were talking about the economy.
Iraq, Iran. I'll let you finish your thought, and then I'll go back to my question that I have.
So
go ahead, finish your thought.
Finish my thought. Well, it doesn't. It's a thought that requires a response from you, which is if there's an 8-year war that Iraq started and we supported, that cost $600 billion to Iran, that took out 1 million members of their population, and then was followed by crazy sanctions. Are you telling me then that it's fair to compare that economy with Abu Dhabi? Are you seriously telling me that's a fair
Can you go back to that chart again, Rob, for me? So you just defended Iraq, right? That we backed up Iraq.
Yes.
That went against Iran.
Yeah.
How come they're not on the top GDP per capita on this list?
Now this is how these arguments are dumb, and I'm going to say this is something personal. This is why when white people talk to black people about slavery, it's a very difficult conversation that we have to learn to tolerate them, because you think that being stolen from the land and getting 350 or so years of free is, remember, I'm not talking about after the revolution. I'm talking about before that. So revolution is what? 1776. Before that, what was already happening. So I don't start the clock when America was founded in the nope. When was the colony? And that's when when was the first person ever set foot here? And then think about how long it takes as an economic model to actually lay roots. I'll tell you, I can do the simple math for you. $30,000 a year times 10. How much is that? It's an easy one. Okay. If I know that somebody has been stolen and 10 years of wealth was in $30,000 a year, which is only $15 an hour, would be $300,000, and I gave them nothing. Why? It is illusory, idiocy to ask like, well, when are they going to help? When are they going to fix it? I don't know. Maybe if you actually gave them everything that they deserved, and so they want to, people don't just kind of pick themselves up by their bootstraps. When I'm like, well, it's kind of easy to say when you've stolen all the boots, when you got all the resources, when you started off with on first base, and I started off not even in the stadium, not even in the country, not even learning the game, and then they will say things, and this is a different topic now. Well, people who forget history are bound to repeat it, and at the same breath say, "When are you guys going to get over slavery?" And so it's like, if you would like me to take you seriously, give me a goalpost and then stop moving it. And it's frustrating for me only because you see us do the same thing over and over again. You support a brutal dictator like Saddam Hussein, destroy for several years, and then you take him down, and then, oh yes, Saddam Hussein was a brutal dictator. Yes, and leave out all the context. While he was our ally, with our permission, under our watch, letting us know, giving him the bombs, etc., etc. And because they know for a fact Americans do not actually study military history, they know they're going to get away with it. And so then you get somebody factual that will actually tell you, well, it actually started in 1952. They say, oh, you're just making excuses for them. No. Knowing why a situation happened does not justify the response. It explains why they feel that you should not be trusted. What actually happens is, imagine if somebody raped your wife or you, and then came over and said, well, now I'm saved now, and so you need to just get over it. That would be a stupid argument. And that's how it feels sometimes when people ask you questions that, if they actually seriously thought about it, if they were on the other end of that, it would be easy to figure out what is personal is actually universal. But that's not how people engage in debates. They want to win the debate and not actually understand things.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Has anybody ever told you you were over-opinionated? How about this one? You can talk about everything you like, but don't talk about religion. Don't talk about faith. Don't talk about politics. My name is Jerome McClain, host of Jerome McClain Show, and I want to introduce you to a show called Over-Opinionated with my friend from Southwest Virginia, Josh Scott. Josh has always been told he has been over-opinionated. He always tried to hold back these opinions, but he tried to back them up when he had to say something with facts and logic. Since he's grown up in many ways, he had to change a lot of his views and his opinions, as a lot of people should. He's not a millionaire from Fox News or CNN. He's just a hard-working, blue-collar type of guy. Give Josh Scott a shot at Over-Opinionated with Josh Scott. You can find him on patreon.com/overopinionated at 679. You can also check him out on Twitter at NRV_guy79. Over-Opinionated with Josh Scott, where he is this soft-spoken guy telling you the truth. We talk about a lot of serious topics on this show. One very serious topic is women's health. One company that stood out to me was vslay.com, because the owner is very transparent about her own struggles in the women's health department and has great customer service, great deals, and frequent sales. You can check her out, her great customer service, products about women's health, and frequent sales at www.vslay.com. That is www.vslay.com.
Do you know what happened to Iraq after the Iran-Iraq War?
So now you have another reason. It's America's fault again.
I mean, do you study history? Do you know what happened in 1991? We did a Gulf. The Gulf was idiotically invaded Kuwait.
What language for you to say? So on one hand,
wow,
On one end, you're saying this. On the other end, no, it's because
You're
of this.
comparing countries. You're showing me a graph comparing countries that have never been bombed, invaded, or occupied with countries that have been bombed, invaded, occupied, and then you say, why is the GDP per capita higher in one, not the other? That's an insane comparison.
Why have they made so much progress? Why? They're Muslim majority.
Yeah.
Okay, why have they made so much progress? I mean, but by the way, at this point, just so you know, the argument is now not about Muslim.
Now listen. If he'd actually thought about what Mehdi said before responding, he already knows the answer to the question. His first question was, why can't Muslims coexist? When he already knows he's lying, because Muslims coexist in the UAE, they coexist in Kuwait, they coexist in Saudi Arabia, they coexist in Bahrain, they coexist in Qatar, they coexist in the United Arab Emirates, they coexist all over the world. I can keep going. They coexist in Qatar. And this is just off the top of my head. His own knowledge of capitalism knows why they coexist. They coexist because they do everything America wants them to do, and then America then does not bomb in the smithereens. And then so they don't, and that's the answer. If America treated all Muslim countries exactly like they treated Bahrain, Qatar, etc., Muslims would coexist. There would be no war. But America has allies that want land in certain places. And so it's very easy to figure out. The Turkish people and the Kurdish people don't get along. Some of the sweetest people I met are Kurdish people in Kurdistan. They've helped us time after time after time after time, and we turn our back to them time after time after time after time, literally, so we can get a deal with another ally. Let them come and get slaughtered, and then say, "Oh, when are you going to help us again?" It's like, look, if you fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on me as well. And that's how I feel about it, because, and I know that's not how the quote's supposed to go, but I'm like, look. I am a human being, which means I know how human beings think. I know human beings' desires. I know the depravity of our hearts. I know our good intentions. But I guess I need to say some ancient wisdom here, being that I'm, old, 40 years old now, hunk status. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. So answering this question is actually fairly easy if you actually want to know the answer.
But the argument is, why are some winning, some are not?
And why are some war plays a big role in it.
Well, Mehdi, a part of it
I just pointed out to you the three biggest refugee groups on the boats going into England are Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan. Yeah. Coincidence? No, those are war-torn countries.
I'm not disputing that. What I'm trying to tell you is, even with that, if you sit here and say every single time everything is America's fault, what responsibility do they take? Do they take any responsibility that they're not making the right decision for the people?
Just to be clear, people can rewind. I know Rob does screenshots, but people watching on YouTube can rewind. Never did I say it's all America's fault. I've never said that. Have you read? You said you've read my stuff. You've seen my stuff.
I've seen your stuff.
I'm very critical of Muslim majority countries. I am very critical of the Iranian government. I'm very critical of the Saudi government. I'm very critical of the Emirati government.
What do you think they can do?
I do a show for Al Jazeera, and I grilled the Qatari foreign minister on that show about the lack of democracy.
I've seen your stuff.
I'm critical of Arab governments, Muslim governments, Pakistan.
Do you think the Middle East is a safer place with IRGC in charge of running America, or somebody like the Pezeshkian?
I'm more of a moderate. I would like to see. And again, who undermined the moderates in Iran? Sorry, it's going to be the answer.
So anyway, I'm actually going to, for the debate segment, post that show in its entirety. But you can kind of see sometimes when a real argument is being had and when it's not. And right back to more of the Jerome McLean show.
These
Lord began pulling sang back home. Oh, you know William sang back. We are the Hall of Fame. All you know we'll sing it for God's grace. Lord, there was a woman in the Bible days who had been sick so very long. Then she heard my Jesus was passing by, so she joined in the gathering throng. And while she was pushing her way through, someone asked her, "What are you trying to do?" She said, "If I could just touch the hem of his garment, I know I'll be made whole right now." She stood there crying, "Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord." She said, "If I could just touch the hem of his garment, I know I'll be made whole right now." Oh, she spent her money here and there until she had no more to spend. You know the doctors, they done all that they could until the medicine do no good. But when she touched the Savior didn't see. Yeah, he turned around and cried, somebody touch me." She said, "It was I who just only touched the hem of his garment, and I know I'll be made whole right now." Oh, oh, and oh, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. She said, "If I could just touch the hem of his garment, I know I'll be made whole right now." And whoa, whoa, and oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. She said, "If I could just touch the hem of his garment, I know I'll be made whole right now." Oh yes,
The lovely voice that I was just blessed to be able to actually share with you was actually my grandfather's group. He's passed away, I want to say 4 years ago now, and that was his group called the Hall of Fame. I'm going to end the show on a positive note today, but because there's enough negativity going around that I don't want to end the show all the time with just the most awful thing on the planet. There's some beautiful people still in this country, even though we sometimes, because of the way the media makes money, which is, there's a term in journalism: if it bleeds, it leads. That's just the penalty of being in a country that only prides itself with money. A lot of news pundits, they have to chase the story, so they rage bait you into always watching them by getting you to talk about things that don't matter. But there's a lot of successful things that happened when I was on a break. One of those things that I really, really love is when people succeed at something, graduate from middle school, high school, college, etc. That tells me the country has a bright future, and I want us to always remember that. America has been at worse places than it is now, and it will get through this. I'm telling you, it will get through this. Rome was big before, it shrunk, it still exists. In order, every country evolves into something else. I do not believe that the worst days of America are behind. I think we had to really get through this tough time to see it actually works a lot better when we work together. And so this is going to be a commencement speech that a college student gave about unity. And I just want you guys to know, if you really needed to hear it today, I love you. And thank you for tuning in to the Jerome McLean Show.
My life begins with something that could be the start of a joke. And it goes like this. A Christian, a Muslim, and a Jew walk into a bar. I know historically the setup is a little bit dicey, but this time was a little bit different. This time, the Christian married the Muslim, and they had a daughter. That daughter grew up Christian until she met the Jew, converted to Judaism, married the Jew, and had a son. 22 years later, that son is standing here with all of you graduating from Harvard University. I am a proud Jew. I'm also the proud grandson of a Christian and the proud grandson of a Muslim. But that isn't a contradiction in any sense of the word. It's proof of a concept. And that concept is what I want to talk to you all about today. Because my family taught me something I think this world could really use right now. Which is that the counter to division isn't necessarily agreement. It's understanding. Our world today, all the way from the global stage to right here at Harvard, has been split into two sides. There are two sides to every story, of course, only two sides. Two sides to every conflict, argument, disagreement. Good and bad. Give and take. Right and left. Progressive and conservative, capitalist and communist, oppressor and oppressed, rich and poor, US and China, US and Russia, Russia and Ukraine, Israel and Palestine, Israel and Iran, US and Iran, US and Israel and Iran. All in binaries. At least they're presented to us in terms of binaries. Here's this issue. What do you think? What side are you on? Come on, where do you stand? Who do you stand with? In my family, well, my family wouldn't exist with that kind of approach. My grandfather's one, a Pakistani Muslim who grew up in the middle of the Indo-Pakistani War of 1947. The other, a Jewish refugee of the Holocaust. Met many times over the course of their lives. As you might imagine, they disagreed on a great many things. And yet, one of the main memories I have of them growing up was seeing them sitting together at a coffee table, discussing everything under the sun. And when they weren't in close proximity, I remember hearing their voices over the phone as they called my parents, always remembering at the end of each call to ask about the other, how they were doing, what were they up to. Of course, there are many differences that they never resolved, but still they acknowledged each other, they cared for each other, they stayed in contact, and they debated with each other. Their vast disparity in life experience, viewpoints, ideology, faith, and beliefs. A point of contention, yes, but not a point of division. And yet, somewhere in between their generation and ours, something in the conversation shifted. The debates got louder, the noise got louder, the listening stopped, it got harder. On the news, on your timeline, at the dinner table, people speaking without listening, people arguing, having already decided their own allegiances, people debating not to listen, understand, or to learn, but to win, to humiliate, to be right. And somewhere along the way, the person sitting across the table stopped being a person and became an obstacle. Now, some would say that there are in fact people in this world for whom understanding is neither owed nor even worth the attempt. People whose very irredeemable actions or beliefs place them beyond the reach of dialogue. People who indeed have become nothing more than obstacles to the greater good. And maybe that's true. Well, my grandfathers survived the atrocities of war and worse, and they knew better than anyone that people can do monstrous things. They also knew the most terrifying fact of all, which that the peoples doing those monstrous things, they were human. Not forgivable, not necessarily redeemable, but human, terrifyingly so. And it's precisely because of that human capacity that understanding them mattered. Dialogue still mattered. Not necessarily dialogue in the sense of extending grace or providing a platform, but again, understanding. Asking, how did they get to this point? How did they reach this conclusion? Why do they believe this? Asking these questions in this context holds a light up to the darkest parts of what it means to be human. And as such, we have to grapple with them. But such questions, necessary questions, important questions, are not only reserved for the darkest parts of human history. If such questions of understanding, why do they believe this? If such questions of understanding matter that much at that extreme of humanity, how much more do they matter for the people sitting around you right now? For that family member at Thanksgiving that you stop bringing certain topics up around. For that person on the internet that says things from a viewpoint that seems kind of unimaginable sometimes. For that student in section that you smiled at once and said, interesting point, and then went back to your dorm and complained about to your roommate. Or for that one friend that you started to phase out because they said some things once that just didn't sit quite right with you. Take about 8 billion of those people, put them together, and you get our world. Many of us who come to Harvard have dreams of changing the world, of leaving an impact. But you cannot change a world that you refuse to understand, to talk to. You cannot convince someone of something if you do not understand them first. Peace through understanding can survive conflict, while peace through agreement lasts only as long as everyone keeps agreeing. In most cases, understanding is difficult. Sometimes you have to fight for it. Sometimes you have to fight yourself and your own beliefs first before you can truly achieve it. It takes effort. My grandfathers knew that, but they chose to try anyway. So, as we all go out into an increasingly troubled world and divided world, I want to leave you all with one simple practice. Whenever you meet someone you disagree with, state your case, yes. Stand up for what you believe in, absolutely. But also, ask the other person about their beliefs. Ask them how they got there. Place yourself in their shoes and ask, why do I believe this? Listen like you might be wrong. That is not a weakness or betrayal of your own ideals. That is the hardest and most important thing you can do in a world that is constantly telling you, pick a side. I told you my life begins like a joke. Well, my Muslim grandfather was buried facing Mecca. My Jewish grandfather was buried in accordance with Jewish law. My Christian grandmother was buried with a cross. In a way, the punchline never really came. There was no resolution to the setup. They were all very stubborn, and they held on to their own ideals and traditions until the very end. But still, they respected each other, they chose each other, and at the end of the day, they were proud to be of one family. Look around you right now. Look at the people around you. The person to your right, the person to your left. You're sitting now amongst people of every belief and every background. A family that we have built over the years here at Harvard. Do we agree on everything? Ask the section kid. Will we ever agree on everything? Certainly not. The world beyond these walls, it has all the same disagreements, the same differences of opinion, the same divisions that we have. But I urge you, see the people in your class for who they are as people. Fight to understand them and their beliefs just as much as you stand up and fight for your own. And after you walk through the gates of this yard for the first time as Harvard graduates, do the same for the people of our world. Because in a time this complicated and this divided, understanding and a genuine willingness to look a little bit deeper is how those divisions start to heal. Thank you all, and congratulations to the class of 26.
I worship you, King of the universe. For blessed are you. You made all of creation. So mighty the power in you. You free us from the darkness and change us of perverse. You deliver us from the evil, teaching us verse by verse. When my heart gets weak and my soul feels tired, you bring new life, lift me higher and higher. Every road I walk, every scar and bruise, you stay beside me when I was confused. I was drowning deep in my sin and shame. Still you call me softly by my name. Now I lift my hands with tears in my eyes, 'cause your mercy keeps on changing my life. And I know you never let me go, even when I ran away. Your love still found a road. Jesus, you're the light when the nights get cold. You're the peace in my soul when I lose control. I hear heaven calling, telling me I'm yours. So I praise your name forevermore. You save me, you change me. Your grace came and remade me. King Jesus, my heart is yours, forever yours, forever yours, forever yours, forever yours. There were nights I cried with nobody near, fighting on my doubts and fighting on my fears. But your voice cut through every storm inside, telling me, my child, don't run and hide. You took my broken pieces in your hands, loved me fully though you knew who I am. Now your spirit flowing like the ocean tide, washing every part I tried to hide. And I know you never let me go, even when I fell apart. Your arms still brought me home. Jesus, you're the light when the nights get cold. You're the peace in my soul when I lose control. I hear heaven calling, telling me
Thank you for listening to today's episode. Of course, if you want to support the show, you can do so by going to www.patreon.com and getting a membership for as little as $3 a month. Again, that's www.patreon.com/The Jerome McClain Show. The Jerome McClain Show is fully listener-supported, independent media that won't lead you to tribalism. Get a membership and support independent media at www.patreon.com/The Jerome McClain Show.